I accused you on a couple of occasions of allowing your narrative to inform your pick. I am allowing my narrative to inform my pick. If the Buccaneers are going to be as good this year as I think they are, the dogs will be eating the cats in this one. Oh, the baby. They were eating cats in Michigan. Barely. Barely.
Ohio and Michigan are eating animals now, huh? What's going on here?
I needed that one badly last week. Badly did I need that one because that one ended up being the difference. In the 5 games on which we disagreed, I got 3 of them right thanks to Baker Mayfield and company. One of the best games of the year so far. Exciting, back and forth. What in the hell is that?
It's even better. You didn't like your other one, so they did this. Now you're
Okay.
That's when he was in the wrong spot in the pregame show for the Brazil game?
That's good.
That's awesome.
Well
love it. I love
it. That's good.
Feel free, guys, to put that video up whenever you want to. It's an all-time video. It's really great.
I was in the right spot as I was assigned in the rehearsal. That's why rehearsal is a problem. Rehearsal puts ideas in your head that aren't necessarily removed from your head. So I was told in rehearsal, here's where I need to go.
Right.
And I went there without being told, after the fact that I should stand somewhere else. But anyway, it was fun.
It was
fun. And
it was
it's already
great.
been almost 2 weeks. I was thinking about this the other day.
Right.
Like 2 weeks ago, we were starting the season. We're already into week 3. It moves so fast. And there's a rhythm to the season. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's the same every week. So here we are already at week 3. Before we know it, it's going to be week 6, week 10, etc. And we're starting to figure some things out, but at the same time, we don't know what the hell's going on. Do we ever know what's going on in the NFL? No. I was feeling good week 1 at 13-3. Last week, 9-7, I think.
I think week 2. I think week 2 is the hardest week to pick games in football almost every year. It's the teams that are 0-1, like you and I always talk about on PFT, right? They're desperate. They're feeling the pressure already. Oh my gosh, we can't go to 0-2, right? Some of the matchups that happened in week 1. Oh wait, how good is this team that this team beat, right? So there's so many things. Teams are still getting better and going through the early season. We're working the kinks out of our football team. So it is a tough week. I do think we have a little bit better picture this week as compared to last week, and hopefully that'll show in our results of our picks there.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But I did extend my lead from 2 games to 3 or 3 games to 4. Either way, I'm ahead.
2
I'm now
to 3.
Up 3 games.
Right.
3 games straight up.
Yep. You got a game
2
in all
games against
things
the
except
spread.
best bets. Right.
Yeah. And best bets, I'm 1 behind you. I'm 3-3 in best bets, which is not good. Not good. We always struggle in best bets. Those are supposed to be our best bets, which just proves to you nobody knows what the hell's going to
Well, I'm 4-2,
way,
so, I'm right 66% of the time. And, if it weren't for the Ravens being, it's odd to say one of the best teams in football is one of the, I don't want to say, one of the least clutch teams in the game is incredible. We were sitting there, right, and I'm going, oh, my God, they're about to dominate them. They're going to this game's about to be over. And they didn't do it. That one hurt me on Sunday for sure.
We both are dead in the gutter from last week.
Yes, we are.
Ravens is
I'm dead twice.
Blues
I've been shot in both brains.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah. Both brains. That's
both.
good. Both brains. By the way, this is the joint PFTPM Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League.
Pizza. Yes. What up, Little Caesars? You know I'm coming
to lay out.
Yes.
So you can go pizza. I drove by Little Caesars yesterday, and if I wasn't in a hurry, I would have stopped in and got pizza.
Oh,
I'm probably going to drive up there later today and get 1 or 2 for tonight's game.
They should give you some sort of coupon that could allow you to walk in there and get a free pizza for all the good reads we do here and how many times we say pizza. I
got no problem paying retail, especially when it's affordable. And Little Caesars Pizza, extremely affordable.
Yep.
Extremely good.
Yeah.
Go get Little Caesars Pizza right now. Well, listen to us first and then go get Little Caesars Pizza. All right, so here we go this week. Every week, not just this week, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms Pick 'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every single week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 pick'em pool to make your picks.
And just like us, you must enter all of your picks before kickoff of the first game of the week on Thursday night, which means you are flying blind on injury reports. You don't know who's questionable. You don't know who's out. You don't know who's going to be inactive, yada, yada, yada. But too bad, we're all in the same boat. All right, tonight, at least we have complete, or we think, information for tonight's game. Patriots-Jets, Week 3, Thursday Night Football. I like this one because I got no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I hear you.
The Jets easily could be 0-2. The Patriots easily could be 2-0. Patriots better than we thought they'd be. Jets still kind of in that, which way is it going to break for them?
Yeah.
And tonight's game, I think, is pivotal in giving us an idea of which way it's going to go.
I agree. I mean, I expect a good football game here. First off, I don't think the Jets are capable of really blowing anybody out right now. With Aaron Rodgers still kind of getting his feet underneath them a little bit, them figuring out their offense and all that. They're not an offensive juggernaut, as we know. You said it right. They could have easily lost last week. I mean, they were in danger of going down 2 scores there until Will Levis went full Tropic Thunder and tried to throw the ball backwards and do all that stuff there. So I expect a close football game. I'm not going to lie. I'm going with the Jets, but I thought about picking the upset here in this one. I do because, one, as simple as the Jets' offense is, and you know I don't love their offensive attack all the way, Gerard Mayo's going to be all over some of this stuff on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't think that's going to be them marching up and down the field. The defense in New England's real, okay? So that's the first thing I look at. And then the other side, hey, we've seen, the Jets' run defense was better last week, but I think this is a better group they're facing this week as far as the offensive line's concerned. And the one thing the Patriots have done so far is they've run the ball about as good as anybody in football. And we know the Jets got torn apart in Week 1 against the 49ers and that run attack. So I do think the Patriots can have some success controlling the clock, moving the ball on the ground. Having said that, with the energy of that stadium tonight and people going to be so excited to see the unveiling of Rodgers Part 2, I'm going to go with the Jets in a close one, 20-16.
So you have the New England Patriots covering the 6-point spread.
Right.
The over-under is 38.5. I'm going to say a couple of things I said earlier today on PFT Live.
Okay.
Since you used to be there, I don't know what happened. You used to be there. Now you're not. Anyway,
you're such an asshole. You really are.
Lodi-odio. I wonder about the institutional knowledge within the Patriots organization about Aaron Rodgers. Whatever Gerard Mayo has picked up from Bill Belichick, whether it's the rare occasions they face Rodgers or just the overall planning, discussion, look at this, look at what he can do.
Yeah.
They had to have been last year in the offseason coming up with some idea for what they were going to do when they faced Aaron Rodgers, even though they never did. I just wonder what's left over from Belichick that Gerard Mayo is going to utilize. And the other thing, too, that flashed for me as we were talking about it earlier today, Chris,
right?
A lot of checkdowns to the running backs by Aaron Rodgers.
No doubt.
And I thought of something that Kyle Shanahan said this week when trying to explain away the manner in which Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, completely dismantles the San Francisco offense. That unpredictability of who's coming and who's not coming forces you to keep the back in the backfield in the event somebody blitzes. That's a way to take the checkdowns out of the game. Now, if they start doing that stuff with Rodgers, he still may be able to pick them apart down the field and find the open holes. But I could see something complicated like that.
I hear you.
Making them pay for, if you're going to put the back out into the flat, you're going to open up a lane for somebody to even do a delayed blitz and chase down Rodgers.
I think the Jets offense is definitely got some things that the defensive coordinators in football can look at and go, wait, I have a pretty good feel for how they protect here, their rules, all that, some of the route combinations, and and I would expect that Patriots defense to be all over some of that stuff, let alone, like you've heard me say, we've only seen Aaron Rodgers throw the ball down the field when it's a one-on-one shot with somebody outside the numbers. I know he threw the long touchdown pass against the 49ers to Lazard on the penalty, but we haven't really seen him throw a 20-yard in-cut into a window or a crosser route down the field or a post route. There's been nothing of that. He's very safe. He's very conservative, and that's an issue with me. And that's where I don't think you can win the Super Bowl playing that way anymore. And we'll see where it goes. and we'll see maybe if they can be a little more aggressive tonight against this Patriots team. What's your score, big guy? What are you going to do?
Doesn't want to cut into that touchdown interception ratio.
Yeah, I hear you there.
I am going to go with the Patriots 24-17. I do all my scores before I look at the lines. I don't want to be influenced by the lines one way or the other, so I've inadvertently and unknowingly picked the Jets to cover by a point, 24-17.
Well,
move on.
Wait. Did you pick the New England to win or the Jets?
No, Jets. I said Jets.
Okay,
sorry,
you said
Jets.
Patriots twice, actually,
I'm
okay?
sorry.
So don't tell us what you didn't say, okay? You
Jets.
said you're getting old, okay? Come on there, man. Let's go.
Some of us did a 2-hour show earlier today. All right, the Jets 24-17. We go to Sunday. It's the OBJ game, even though he currently plays for neither team. Giants at the Browns. Browns favored by 6.5 after getting themselves off the schneid last week against the Jaguars. Giants, not good. Had a chance to win last week. Did not. Over-under of 38.5 at First Energy Stadium, although that's not the name anymore. It's Huntington Bank, I think. But I don't know, and I don't really care because they don't pay us to say the corporate sponsors of NFL stadiums. So, all that said, who do you like?
Well, I'm excited for this game. I mean, I like Cleveland. Let me just state that right off the bat. I do. Cleveland at least showed the ability to run the ball, string together some drives. It's not sexy. We know that. I could see this being a week where we see a little more success out of Deshaun Watson, like we've talked about in previous weeks. The Giants' secondary is a problem. It definitely is. And I think to a problem to where they're so worried about protecting it. Teams like Washington last week ran all over them in that way too. The tackles for Cleveland are healthy. So, yes, I think that's a positive there, and I give Cleveland a little advantage against that Giants defense, certainly. And then I look at the other side of the ball, and, hey, there were some positives there. The Giants' O-line is better. It's serviceable this year. So that's something you can hang your hat on. And we saw Malik Neighbors is the real deal. But I just still think this Browns defense is too talented and going to have too many answers and too aggressive. And I think they're just going to slowly wear down the Giants altogether. I'm going to go with the Browns 24-13 in this one.
Yeah, I just don't think the Giants have the horses offensively to keep up with that Cleveland defense, especially, they kind of got the mulligan. They earned the mulligan for week 1 by getting a win in Jacksonville that many believed they wouldn't get. So they've gotten themselves right, and now they get a chance to feast on a team they should beat. And if they should somehow lose this one, it's 5-alarm fire time in Cleveland. Yeah. I think the defense will be all over Daniel Jones. We've already seen one quarterback get benched. I think Jones is moving toward that, in part because he's got $25 million in injury guarantees for next year. So it's the Russell Wilson bubble wrap that will be coming for him at some point. I think before we get to the point where they're not mathematically eliminated, but essentially eliminated, I think they'll try to shake things up to see if they can salvage the season. It could be coming sooner than expected. I think he's going to have a rough time on Sunday. I've got 17-6 Browns over the Giants. I've started to skew my scores lower because I want exciting games, so I tend to pick higher scores.
Yeah.
And I've said, screw that.
Yeah.
If the scoring's down, I got to shave off 10 points. Shave 10 points off of every one of these games.
I hear you. I there was that went through my head too a little bit, writing down some of these scores, going, wait, is this too many points here? I don't know if these teams are capable of doing that. It's definitely something you got to keep in mind right now with the current state of the NFL.
Bears at the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. Caleb Williams looking for his first career touchdown pass. Anthony Richardson, the ultimate NFL amusement park ride, because you never know what's going to happen. Thrills, chills, and spills. Long touchdown, dramatic throw that ends up going into a crowd of 7 defenders. It's fun to watch unless you're a Colts fan. 1.5 points, the Colts are favored against the Bears. Over under a 43. Who do you like?
Well, I can't trust the Bears right now. I got to see something on the offensive side of the ball before I can okay, I'm going to pick the Bears again. There's been nothing to look at. One, we know the offensive line play has not been good. They've misevaluated the talent of that group right there. They can't protect Caleb Williams. They can't run the football, right? And, hey, I thought they were kind of headed in the right direction at the end of last year, but certainly not. So that has been a detriment to their football team, and I think with that, added to the fact that I don't like what they do on the offensive side of the ball, there's not enough creativity there. There's really not. There's nothing that backs anybody or makes a defense think right now. So that's a little scary to me. And even though I don't think the Colts are great on defense, I think they're good enough to slow down this group and this attack right now. Keenan Allen, his health. Romo Dunze, his health. What are they going to do there? And then you couple that with not being able to run the football in Chicago. Yeah, too much is on Caleb Williams, and he's not ready to bear that burden of carrying the team. And the Colts offense, the one thing it can do is run the football. And within that, the Bears can stop the run. I get that, but I think they're going to have to worry so much about a pretty good running attack with everything they do there that it'll lead to a few big plays in the pass game this week from Anthony Richardson. So I'm going to go Colts 20-17 at home. They get their first win.
I got 17-13. Again, I shaved off some points, but the Bears offense needs to do something before I will believe in them. The running game isn't there. DeAndre Swift averaging under 2 yards a carry. Khalil Herbert adding a short touchdown but not doing much otherwise. Passing game still not there yet. Not enough protection for Caleb Williams. Colts desperate to get a win after almost beating the Texans, giving the Packers maybe more than we expected because the Packers could have delivered an early knockout blow and failed to do so. 17-13, Colts get to 1-2. We move on to one of the best games of the day. Minnesota hosting the Houston Texans. Texans come in as 2-point favorites with an over-under of 46. Should be a great game. Who do you see prevailing?
I'm excited for this one. I mean, again, like last week with Minnesota, you get excited for the coaching matchup of O'Connell and Flores versus Shanahan and Sorensen. This week, it's very similar. Yeah, I mean, that same group, O'Connell and Flores versus D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick. I mean, the Vikings are basically playing a team with the same exact system from the week before, right? So who has the advantage there? The team that played the team like that, or the team that goes, wait, we're getting to watch you play a team like us, and now we're getting to see what you do in those. That's a tough call. I don't know, right? But I do think that the Minnesota Vikings are every bit worthy of winning this game and being in this game, and I'm going to take them to do it. I am. I think Flores and company and being at home, and we know how tough it is to play in Minnesota, I think they're going to pose problems for this Texans offense. I do. And we've seen the Texans offense, hey, first week it ran good. They ran the ball well, but they didn't blow us away with the pass game stuff. Same thing last week. Last week they didn't even run the ball that well, and the pass game was solid, but we weren't like, oh, man, it's taking over the game. Watch out. I think we'll see similar this week. And I think another week of this offense, understanding the D'Amico Ryans, the 49ers rules, I think they're going to come up with more ideas. I think they match up well with the Texans. I'm going to take the Vikings at home, 27-24, to go to 3-0.
I got 26-23. So it's not exactly the same score. I tried to be a little cute because I always skew toward the more predictable numbers. I just gut feeling 26-23. Now, I'll say this. What would be interesting to know as they study the film of last week, with the Vikings always confusing you, and I doubt that Brian Flores leaves any breadcrumbs in the pre-snap formation. That would be the challenge if you're the Texans. Poring over the film to find any clue how a guy stands, how he's leaning, where he's looking.
I hear you.
Any clue as to what's coming after the snap. Is there a code that you can crack based on what they did last year and what they've done so far this year? That would be the challenge because you want to get an edge. You want to know what's coming. And if it's loud in there, it makes it even harder. That gives the defense that extra little advantage because they're in silent count. It's a lot for C.J. Stroud to process. I think it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for any quarterback in that stadium as long as they feel like the Vikings are better than anyone expected them to be. So far, they are 26-23. Joe Mixon banged up. That helps the Vikings.
Yeah.
We don't know about.
Vikings
I think
can run the ball this year.
Oh, Ty Chandler had 82 yards last week. Aaron Jones went healthy, and he's already a little banged up, but between Jones and Chandler, they're in good shape, and it's been fun to watch so far, and it's been a surprise.
I know. I'm mad you picked the Vikings. I really thought this would be one where we'd be different here. I thought you'd be Dr. Doom and tell me, but damn, okay, all right. I don't feel as good now that you picked it. Damn.
I did the emotional hedge last week. This week, I'm all in. I feel like they can get to 3-0, which really will be a shock if it happens. Eagles at the Saints. Before the season started, The Eagles were 3.5-point favorites for this game. Now, the Saints are 2.5-point favorites, and for good reason. They blew out the Panthers, which really wasn't all that impressive. Then they went to Dallas and hung the first regular season loss at home on the Cowboys in 2 years. They've looked great. 15 drives, 15 scores. Unstoppable offense. Defense has been stout under Dennis Allen. Eagles come in, short week, a little disheveled after the way the game ended on Monday night. I wish that you and I would have been able to break that down on Tuesday morning, although Devin and I had a lot of fun talking about how the Eagles pissed down their leg and blew that game.
Yep.
Will they piss down their leg again at the Superdome?
I'm excited for this one, too. This is another one that I like the Texans-Vikings, I'd go, it would classify as game of the day type of material, certainly. You talk about big, strong, physical, nasty offense and defense alignment. This game's got plenty of it, definitely. The Saints, as you heard me say on Monday morning on PFT with you, or even to me, it's the most fun watching football right now. I can't even believe I'm saying it. And I don't expect it to change a whole lot. I mean, what? I'm not ready. Like we've talked about some other teams, I got to see more out of this Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is getting shredded in both games. Run, pass, whatever. Teams are doing whatever they want. And this attack, this is a really good offensive line in New Orleans. And, of course, we know, it's time we start saying Rashid Shaheed is one of the best receivers in football. It's that. It's not this is just some miracle game or two. He's real. Him and Olave, that combo there is real. I think they're going to pose some problems for this Eagles defense because they can run it just as equally as dangerously as they can throw bombs down the football field. Let alone, I like the Eagles' new offense. I do think it's really good. And Jalen Hurts, as we saw the other night, he is running really well. I still think Saquon's a hell of a football player. A.J. Brown and his health, I think, is definitely something to look at or question with this football game. But I think the Saints, with Dennis Allen and how they're coached and having enough big people on the D-line and depth behind it, I think they can slow down this Eagles attack. I'm going to take the Saints. I'm taking the Saints 28-24 at home, and they go to 3-0.
31-28 Saints. Let me check the line. That's a cover for the Saints. A.J. Brown said to Lisa Salters on Monday night he's going to miss a couple of weeks, with the hamstring. It was a freak thing that happened at practice on Friday. Now, Nick Sirianni tried to put the toothpaste back in the tube because you want to have the uncertainty heading into the preparation, and they really could have used him on that last drive on Monday night.
Well, that's the thing.
When it really showed
up. One thing that's getting lost in translation with that last drive the other night is that was a horrible interception by Jalen Hurts. They had one timeout left, and they're 15 yards away from being in field goal range to win the football game. So because of the Sirianni dumb third down call and the pass, all that, it's given a free pass to Jalen Hurts with a stupid decision at the end of the game where they're still in a spot where I was like, man, they're going to win this game. It doesn't matter that Atlanta scored late. But that was bad too. So bad all around by the Eagles offense.
Bad all around. The defense was not ready to go back out and play. The offense screwed it up with that call on 3rd and 3 and the interception. You're right. It felt like Jake Elliott was going to have a chance to win the game, but it wasn't to be. All right, next game. Chargers at Steelers. Old school slobber knocker, Michigan-Ohio State ramifications as Jim Harbaugh takes on Justin Fields. Pittsburgh favored by 1.5 with an over-under of 36. What a shock. The lowest over-under of the week at 36 points. Both teams 2-0. Which one will be 3-0?
Well, go ahead. You're a Steelers fan, so that's your AFC squad. Give me your breakdown there, Johnny Steeler.
I'm concerned about the Justin Herbert ankle injury because if it's not Herbert playing quarterback, that's a tougher game for the Chargers. But, hey, I've said for years, Jim Harbaugh needs to be back in the NFL. And I've been a firm believer he can turn a team around immediately. The first 2 wins, okay, Raiders, Panthers. This is the test. And I think the wild card in all of this is J.K. Dobbins. He's averaging 9.9 yards per carry through 2 weeks. He's leading the NFL in rushing. He's healthy. He's got superstar potential when healthy. And he's got 3 games against the Steelers in his career while he played for the Ravens and over 320 rushing yards against the Steelers, including 120 on only 15 carries, the only time he ever played in Pittsburgh in his career. I think he's the difference in this game. I think the Steelers fall to Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers by a very Harbaugh Steelers score of 16-13.
Yeah, I kind of see it the same way. I mean, I'm picking this game as Herbert's going to play and be okay, right, to a degree. I think, to me, the difference is I think I have a little more faith, like you're saying, in the Chargers offense compared to the Steelers offense right now. And I think the Chargers defense, like the Steelers, it's really good. Like, it's real deal. Jesse Minter, what he's done as the defensive coordinator there, they're very creative. They got pretty damn good talent. I have a hard time thinking Pittsburgh is going to be able to move the ball consistently against this Chargers defense. And then I don't think it's going to be pretty on offense, but you're right. If there's one team that can out-Steeler the Steelers in Pittsburgh, it's a Jim Harbaugh type of team. They play that same way. I'm going to go Chargers 20-17. I don't like that we're on the same picks to this degree so far. It's kind of annoying.
Think about this. They've known since May that Jim Harbaugh was going to Pittsburgh week 3. How much time do you think Jim and John have spent talking about the Steelers? John has every interest, even though he's competing indirectly with Jim for playoff positioning, wild card and whatnot. He wants to see the Steelers lose. He's got no reason to not empty the tank and give Jim everything he needs to try to beat the Steelers. I hadn't thought about that until just now. I really do think Jim Harbaugh and company are going to pull off the win. Okay. Next game, Broncos, Buccaneers. Don't need much time for this one. Bucs are 6.5-point favorites. Bucs are one of the best teams in the NFL. Broncos are a work in progress, and I'm still waiting to see the progress. Who do you like?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same thoughts as you. You know, a little bit like what we said with the Bears. I can't pick the Broncos until I start to see the offense function at as a mid-level NFL offensive team so far. They've been less than that to this point. We know that. And this is not I don't think the group where you're going to get things jump-started. In Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles, creativity, big people up front. You're not going to be able to run the ball on them. You don't have great weapons in the pass game anyways. The Bucs offense has shown the ability to strike and make big plays. So, yes, I'm with you that way. I'm going Bucs 27-16 in this one.
I mean, really, what do the Broncos have? Other than Cortland Sutton, who last year had a knack for making a big catch every game when he had a quarterback they could deliver the ball to.
Right.
What do the Broncos really have? What do they do well on either side of the ball? And their defense, I think, is better than they get credit for because they're avoiding getting blown out when their offense can't do anything.
Right.
I think they get blown out this weekend relative to their other outcomes. 34-17, Bucs win. Bucs get to 3-0. Bucs can't hide anymore. I got them up to number 3 in my power rankings, and I think they're pissed at me that I have them so high. They want to be overlooked. They want to be underrated. Well, too late for that. When you beat the Lions in Detroit, people are going to pay attention. Last one, Packers-Titans. Yet again, the Packers underdogs. Titans favored by 2. Titans are 0-2. Will Levis is Carson Wentz. The only thing he hasn't done yet is try to make a throw left-handed from his own end zone that would inevitably be picked off. 38 is the over-under. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, again, it feels like the line is that way all because of the quarterback situation with Green Bay. And as we've heard, I think there's a chance Jordan Love does play this week. And even if he doesn't, it's not going to skew my thoughts a whole lot differently. Malik Willis, that was a good start last week. I think they'll take the training wheels off a little bit more this week and allow him to throw and be aggressive. But I think, again, it goes back into what we talked about. People continue to disrespect the culture of the Packers and who they are as a team. And I can't believe it's being made as like, oh, they're just a quarterback type of team. That's the difference of them. They're not. As we saw last week, it's one of the best rushing attacks in football. Their defense has got playmakers there. I expect them to win this one. I don't expect it to be pretty. I don't. I think the Titans are sneaky, a pain in the ass. Their run game's okay. Calvin Ridley's a pain in the butt, right? They're kind of well coached on defense. We saw them give the Jets fits last week, but I still am going to take the Packers in a close one. I got them 23-20.
I got 20-16. So we feel the same way about it. And, they're getting these wins without Jordan Love. This is money in the bank, and Love could be back as soon as week 4. I originally was told right after the injury, and the MRI ended up better than they could have expected, week 4 to week 6. And there's already some chatter that maybe he can play this week. I think they're playing the okey-doke with us a little bit on that. I think it's going to be Malik Willis. Either way, I think the Packers pull off the victory. No disagreements yet. Uh-oh. We'll see if we have any when we look at the late afternoon Sunday games for Week 3 on the joint enterprise of the PFTPM and Chris Sims Unbuttoned Picks podcast, delivered by Little Caesars. We'll be right back. DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets instantly, plus get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Download the app and use promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Please bet responsibly. Okay, Panthers, Raiders. Raiders at home. 5-point favorites with Andy Dalton rolling into town. Bryce Young benched. Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. Although we saw a dysfunctional Colts team go into Las Vegas and win a couple of years ago after they fired their coach and plucked Jeff Saturday out of the ESPN studio. Do we see the Panthers pull off their first win of the season this Sunday, Chris?
I do think they're going to get an Andy Dalton bump, right? I do think there's something there. I mean, again, by all due accounts, you read between the lines, you listen to what people say, and Andy Dalton's been the better quarterback for all OTAs and all training camp, right? And I think I give them credit, right? I think the dysfunctional thing would have been to keep Bryce Young as a starter, really. It's that bad, Mike. I mean, it's like, how can the team have any hope, any chance? I watched the film of that game on Tuesday morning. I mean, the receivers are there after every play are like, oh, man. Oh, he could have thrown it to me, but he didn't. I mean, the whole offense has nothing going, let alone the quarterback's not going to lead him out of that. So I think it's the proper thing. Maybe he can readjust, regain some confidence, let the game slow down, watch him from the sidelines. Either way, though, yeah, I can't pick the Panthers. I can't. Not that I think the Raiders are a juggernaut, but the one thing that I will not mess up anymore is the Raiders' defense is real. It is. And we know Max Crosby, talked about him on Sunday night as one of my headliners. He was phenomenal in the game last week. So I just think that, yes, they're too good on that side of the ball for me to think Andy Dalton's going to make a whole big difference. And Carolina's defense is not special either. So I like the Raiders, kind of tough and ugly, 20-13 at home in Vegas.
I think it's going to be that plus one more touchdown for the Raiders. I love the quote from yesterday, Gardner Minshew explaining that after he threw an interception against the Ravens, Max Crosby came over to him, gave him a pep talk. We need the Washington State Gardner Minshew, and he accessed that. And I think there's a symbiosis there between those two guys. One's the leader of the defense, one's becoming a leader of the offense. They got a win that they never should have gotten last week, and maybe they use that as the kick in the ass to move forward. I don't know how far it goes, but 27-13 is the win that I think they get this weekend, and they try to build on it moving forward. All right. Dolphins at the Seahawks. Dolphins, well-documented quarterback issues. Tua Tagovailoa on injured reserve. They've got Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley now on the roster. Seahawks are favored by 4.5. They are a sneaky 2-0. They beat the Broncos in kind of sluggish, boring fashion. They took the Patriots to overtime and won that game to get to 2-0. Do they get to 3-0 with a win over the Dolphins, who really are kind of in flux right now without Tua?
Yeah, definitely in flux. It's hard to sit there and go, oh, I'm going to pick them. I mean, of course, they're dangerous. They got playmakers. We know that. But, again, last week was what we've talked about with the Dolphins really for a year and a half. When it's not a track meet, right? And I know week 1 it was better and we thought, oh, maybe. But when it's not a track meet and all of a sudden we see, wait, they took away a few of McDaniel's tricks and cue plays. Oh, what else is there? That concerns me, let alone I don't know how good that Dolphins defense is. I think the Seahawks offense is a pain in the butt. Kenneth Walker, I know his injury status is an issue there, but Charbonnet's good. I think they can run block a little bit better than years past. I do expect them to move the ball passing it. And at the same time, too, yeah, Skylar Thompson in that environment in Seattle with the Mike McDonald defense and everything there, I'm certainly favoring the Seahawks. I think the Dolphins give a tough effort. I'm going to have them cover the spread, but I'm going, where the heck did I put this? I'm getting to it. I'm going Seahawks 24-21.
I got 20-13 Seahawks. I really think this is a difficult spot for the Dolphins. They go from that surge of adrenaline and confidence, winning the tough game, coming from behind against the Jaguars. I thought last week it was just too much emotionally taken out of them, and it looked that way before the Tua concussion.
Yeah, right.
The Tua concussion is the punch in the gut. That offense is so fun to watch with all the – it's almost like a shell game with all the who's got the ball. But when it's time to throw it down the field –
right.
There were 3 interceptions, and they were all Tua's fault. And does Skylar Thompson do any better? I don't think so.
No.
I think their best bet is get Tyler Huntley ready, ASAFP. He may be the guy who can turn it around. I don't know when we're going to see Tua again, and I won't be surprised if we don't see him again this year. And I think the Dolphins still coming to terms with all that. Makes it hard to go across the country. As far as you could travel and stay within the United States and play a game, it's going to be tough. 20-13 Seahawks. All right.
Yep.
Lions. Cardinals. 2 of the big surprises last week. Lions losing. Cardinals destroying the LA Rams, and Kyler Murray looking better than ever. The Lions are favored by 3. 51.5, the highest over-under of the week. Who do you like?
The Cardinals are a pain in the butt, okay? They are. Their offense has everything. I really love it. You know, I've talked about their coaching there and how impressed I am with it overall. I do have concerns with the Lions. The Lions' defense is fine. They've improved, certainly. It's the offense I'm actually worried about. They have not been able to just control the line of scrimmage and run the ball at the capacity I expected them to. I've always said throughout the offseason it's one of the best offensive lines in football. It hasn't played that way yet. They had 2 big runs that skewed the stats to make it look like they're running the ball good. But, again, where the Lions really killed teams in the past was they would overpower you up front to where they could run it and they just go, hey, we know we're going to run it. It doesn't matter. And it's going to be 2nd and 5. And then the defense is like, man, it's 2nd and 5. Oh no, they might be able to run for 5 more yards or a first down. I got to play a run defense. And then they have play action pass and gash you down the field and all that. But they have been able to play through the run as far as play action pass or dominating the line of scrimmage in either game so far. So that's where I worry about them a little bit. But I still think they're too damn good, and I think on the road, and I don't want to say a must-win game, but a big game to get back on track, and last week leaving a nasty taste on the mouth. I think this is a great game, certainly, but I'm going to go Detroit wins this one 30-28. I'm going to have Arizona cover the spread.
I'm going to get accused of hating the team I pick against no matter what I do here. If I pick the Lions, why do you hate the Cardinals? If you pick the Cardinals, why do you hate the Lions? I got so much shit last week for picking the Bucs to beat the Lions. It was very refreshing to see that I was right. And ultimately, that's all I'm trying to do, folks, is be right. This isn't acting out some vendetta. We're trying to be right. And I think the right call here is, and I look at the Ravens, look at how the Ravens are kind of struggling to get out of that fog that comes from
NFC
getting so
Championship
close to the
loss.
Super Bowl,
right.
getting knocked back down, and the Lions. And remember, Dan Campbell said to the team before he tried cleanup on aisle 5, this may be our only shot. I mean, to be 17-point lead at halftime, to be that close, and to get thrown back into the Dennis Green Valley of 0-0. Hey, they could have / should have lost to an overmatched Rams team due to injuries. They did lose to the Bucs. I think they're going to lose. I think they need a wake-up call. And I don't think last week was it. They need a road wake-up call, and they're going to get it. 24-21, Cardinals over the Lions, sending the Lions to 1-2 and rocketing the Cardinals to 2-1, and could have been 3-0. They had the Bills on the ropes. They just didn't punch them through.
Yeah, they definitely did. They're a better football team, right? They're one of those teams that you classify and go, I think it's a fringe playoff team when it's all said and done. And they'll continue, I think, to get more dangerous on offense as they figure out Marvin Harrison and how to use him in the passing game and all that. Hey, good for you. I certainly thought about picking the upset here, too. I do think it's a coin flip of a game, and I do think with the speed of Kyler Murray and the fact that, it's not a real fast front four in Detroit, he's going to be able to buy some time and make some plays, even though Aiden Hutchinson's over there. So we'll see. It won't be my best bet, I can tell you that much.
He is back, Kyler Murray is, to full-blown meet Roadrunner status.
He is.
It is as good as it's ever been.
Yep.
And Aiden Hutchinson can chase him around. He'll run through his legs if he has to. I mean, it's incredible to watch, and we need to adjust to it, factor it in, and make our picks accordingly. Okay, Ravens at Cowboys. Desperation time for both teams. Baltimore is 0-2. Cowboys 1-1 at home. 48.5 over under. Tom Brady's back in the building. He's the unofficial Cowboys broadcaster for this year. Who do you like? Ravens favored by 1. Ravens favored by 1.
I mean, that there is, to me, one of the odder lines of the week. The Ravens favored by 1. I know Dallas is at home and they're really good that way. I mean, again, Dallas, their offensive attack, it does not mesmerize me by any stretch of the imagination. It's solid. I get that. Defensively, they have issues. They're not, as we talked about last year. I mean, we saw it last week. They can't stop the run. Their D tackles aren't very good. They get blown out of the water. Their safeties in the middle of the field are slow. We saw those New Orleans receivers run right by them like they were in mud. So I worry about that side of the ball, let alone a pissed-off Ravens football team ready to go. I would be shocked if the Ravens lose this football game. I would. I don't know if I can pick a best bet or anything like that with this one because I just don't trust the Ravens to – I just don't trust them. But I do think they're the better football team here. I'm going to take them 31-21. I'm taking the Ravens. And, yeah, I don't know if I have the guts to make them a best bet for the second week in a row. Yeah.
10 points,
yeah.
31-21?
Yeah.
I've got Ravens 27-23, which I hope it's 31-21 because that means people will give up and watch Football Night in America. I have a feeling this is one of those games that's going to be exciting down to the wire, and they'll tune in at about 7:45 p.m. Eastern for the pregame show. But I think it should be a great game, could be a great game. The Ravens more desperate and more talented. I think that's the equation I look at.
Yeah.
Who's more desperate, who's more talented? And even though the Cowboys have the big names, I think across the board, the Ravens are the better team. They get the win, and they get to 1-2 and send the Cowboys to 1-2. You know, at one point this week, Chris, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, said the real pressure for Mike McCarthy is going to come in the postseason. You got to get there first. There's this presumption they're just going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. The team that I saw last week against the Saints, I don't think that team gets to the playoffs. We'll see if they can pull it off. All right, one more. One more? Is it one more? One more on the docket late afternoon. The 49ers, 7-point favorites against the Rams, who basically have no one left who is healthy at this point, other than quarterback Matthew Stafford. Is that enough to give the Rams a chance to win at the 49ers home away from home? 44.5 over under. Again, 49ers favored by 7. Who do you like?
I'm about to throw in the white towel with the Rams. It's over. It's over for the year. They're done almost. I'm ready almost to stick a fork in them for the year. Yes, the injuries on the offensive line, no Puka Nacua, no Cooper Kupp, right? Their offense was the part of the team that was going to have to carry the team anyways. The defense is not super, super talented. It's young. Right, there's no big-time difference maker in the front seven like we've talked about. Their secondary is less than. It's Tre'Davious White is nothing to write home about. John Johnson's hurt, right? So they're going to miss a safety. I think the 49ers did a lot of good things last week. We know it was a tough environment. They messed up a few situational things and big play moments, whatever. But I think they'll be pissed off and ready to show the Rams what they got. I'm going 35-17 49ers.
Yeah, look, I've got the 49ers in this one too. And the 49ers, I think, feel a little desperation, even though they don't have Deebo Samuel. He's out for a couple of weeks with a calf strain. It's not an Achilles. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason has done very well for them. Again, I pick these scores based upon blank slate, no spread. I went 23-17, so I got to trust it. Rams cover somehow. I almost adjusted it, but my first instinct, right or wrong, is what I'm going to ride with. 49ers 23-17, which means the Rams do cover somehow in that game. We take a break. When we return, primetime games, including Patrick Mahomes against Kirko Chainz and a Monday night sort of doubleheader, overlapping simulcast, doubleheader, whatever. We'll do the primetime games next on PFTPM and Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium for free, okay? Download the app, use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
You know, you almost went Niedermeyer. Pledge pin with NFL Plus Premium.
I know.
A plus premium on your uniform. Also, I think we need a sports book that is the number one place to bet field goals, because that's really been the story of the season so far. Not touchdowns, field goals.
Offenses got to change the way there's too many offenses that are too similar, right? Too many offenses. We talked about the defensive linemen are way better than the offensive linemen. That's an issue. And then too much of offenses letting defenses off the hook. I watch film all week. It's 3rd and 4, and the defense plays for the 5-yard pass, and the offense plays for the 5-yard pass. And I go, wait, there's all this. If they played this defense on 1st and 10, you'd be like, I can't believe they're playing like this. They're going to let us throw bombs against them all day. And then it becomes 3rd and 4, and they go, oh, I'm chicken shit. I want to throw it 5 yards. And I go, they're giving you bombs down the field. You got NFL quarterbacks. So they got to start calling the defense's bluff a little bit. That's the other problem. 3rd and 1, we don't have to run the fullback dive up the middle. You know, your $50 million quarterback can throw it to the receiver down the field when all 11 guys are at the line of scrimmage. A lot of chickens on the offense right now, let alone offenses that are just not that creative, and the defenses are like, I know all the rules here, and we're all over it all. So you could tell I'm a little bothered by it. That's why running the football and what the 49ers do and what the Saints are doing and all that are the teams that are the best in football right now, because they're making you think about different things rather than just the shotgun and slant flat combination. And that's what a lot of teams have defaulted to in football, and it drives me crazy.
By the way, I did raise the idea with all the field goals that are being made this year, 35 of 39 from 50 plus.
Yeah.
Raise the crossbar, shrink the uprights a little bit. Maybe the NFL would do that. I've already heard from a head coach who agrees with that sentiment. It would make those field goals a little more Scott Norwood-ish, because it all feels just too automatic now. Anyway, that's a topic for another day on PFT Live when Chris won't be on the show. Sunday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes and Kirk Cousins will be on the show. Chiefs are favored by 3.5 as they go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Arthur Blank secures the very difficult-to-achieve honor of putting himself in the team's Ring of Honor. Free food and soda for everyone to distract from the fact that he put himself in his own Ring of Honor. Do the Falcons properly honor their owner on the night that he gives himself the honor of being in the Ring of Honor?
Well, I think there's really a little bit of a tactical approach here, too, because as we know, the Falcons, like you saw in Week 1, there was more Steelers fans there than Falcons fans. You'd be in danger of that, of course, this week. It's the Chiefs. They're becoming America's team. It's a traveling roadshow. Everybody wants to go see Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and the Chiefs. So I think that's why they're probably doing it, hoping that the Falcons fans don't sell their tickets to all the Chiefs fans. But we'll see. I will say, I think the Falcons match up, with the Chiefs pretty good. And hear me out a little bit. I do think that Raheem Morris, the style of defense that he plays, they are zone defenses. They're going to know, a lot like the Bengals, know how to pass off a lot of these route combinations that the Chiefs do. I don't think they're going to be in a tough spot there. Where I do worry about the Falcons is a little bit what we saw with the Eagles, that they can't really rush the passer and get there, right? And that Mahomes is going to be like, wait, nobody's open, but I'll buy 3 or 4 more seconds and somebody will get open then. That's what I do worry about. And, of course, I worry about the Chiefs being able to run the ball as consistently good as we've seen them here in the years past without Pacheco. I don't know if we're going to be able to depend on that. So those are some things I question. I do think that offensive line, like we saw last week in the Falcons, it's good. I do think they should be able to run the ball a little bit. Are the receivers and Kirk Cousins scary enough, though, that when the Chiefs go, wait, we're going to stop the run, we'll play man-to-man, we'll get a little aggressive, are you guys good enough to beat us down the field and do that? That I'm not sure about. Listen, I do think this could be an upset, but I don't have the guts to pick it. I'm going to take the Chiefs, 24-17 Chiefs, but I think the Falcons will be a pain in the butt all game long.
I noticed on Monday night, and this is one of those situations where they act like they don't hear criticism, and then you see the reaction and Zach Robinson having Kirk Cousins not stand parallel feet. You see an attempt to do some play action.
Yeah.
You see Kirk Cousins recovering some confidence in his surgically repaired right leg.
Definitely.
And I think that when they go no huddle, he doesn't think about it. And I think late in the game, he didn't have the luxury of thinking about it. And that was the moment the rust was shaken off. I give the Falcons a better chance than I would have going into this game. I still look at Mahomes, Cousins. We've seen this movie before. Kirk's got an opportunity to really change narratives beyond the primetime Kirk thing, which definitely has changed in his last two primetime games. Monday night last year, 49ers. Monday night this year, Eagles, pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. It's Mahomes, 28-24. Chiefs find a way, 28-24. If the Falcons would pull this one off, holy shit, NFC South, Bucks, Saints, Falcons.
Right.
I gotta see it to believe it, though.
Yeah.
Chiefs, safer pick, 28-14, covering by a half.
I hear you. I won't make this a best bet. It scares me. And let me just say this real quick before we go. Kirk Cousins, that was an incredible performance. The pressure was on him about as much as any game in the history of his career. I mean, if he played bad the other night, it would have been like, what the hell did we do? Why did we pay him? Put in Michael Penix, all of that. That was a big-time performance, and I'm with you. I think he got a little confidence in his ankle or his ankle, Achilles, whatever there, to be a little more aggressive as the weeks go here.
Hey, it would have been on that Sunday night game if Falcons fans had shown up instead of Chiefs fans. We want Penix. We want Penix at some point during the game. It was critical that he looked better in week 2. The other difference, too, he wasn't being chased around by T.J. Watt. We got to move on to the next game. Okay, Monday Night Football, Jaguars, Bills. Jags are 0-2. Bills are 2-0. Bills are favored by 5. They get the extra day to rest. They go from Thursday all the way to Monday night, 45.5 over-under. Who do you like?
Yeah, Bills at home. Jaguars offense that I just don't have a ton of confidence in. I just think that it's an offense that I feel like Sean McDermott's going to be able to break down and be kind of all over it. Again, the Jags defense, I like them. I do. But it's just hard to pick. When Josh Allen is kind of in the groove he's in right now, it might not be big numbers, but it's just like every got-to moment or big play, he makes it. Like last week, like you saw. It's not a great statistical day, but he made all the big plays to just go, well, you're done, Newton. You're done, Miami. We're not going to let you hang around and keep this close. I'm going to throw a touchdown or scramble here to put you away. And I don't have enough confidence in the Jaguars right now. I don't. So I'm going to take the Bills in a close one because I think this is a kind of a desperation game for the Jaguars, certainly. I'm going to have them covering, but I'm going to take Bills 26-23.
Spirit is willing, flesh is weak. 27-17, Bills win, and the Jaguars fall to 0-3, 1-8 in their last 9 games, and closer to Bill Belichick being the head coach of the Jaguars next year. I'm kidding. Unless I'm not. Commanders at the Bengals to wrap up the week. It's the later start on Monday night. They're staggered this week. Commanders at Bengals. Bengals 7.5-point favorites over under a 47. Biggest spread of the week. Bengals the most desperate team in a position, I think, to get a win that they need badly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Bengals. Again, last week I think there's a lot of positives. They outplayed Kansas City. They did. They were the better team on the field. Not by enough that one mistake, changed the game. Certainly, but I think there's silver lining there. The defense looks pretty good. I don't. The one thing I worry about is, can Washington maybe run the ball on Cincinnati? If they can, that can make things a little interesting. Cincinnati's banged up at defensive tackle. It's something to watch there, certainly. But ultimately, I think between the desperation and I think Joe Burrow and company, I would be shocked if they don't tear up Washington's pass defense a little bit. We saw Daniel Jones and company kind of have their way last week. I think Joe Burrow, it's a team on a mission. I think I expect them to make a statement. 28-17 Bengals.
Yeah, look, the Commanders would be 0-2, but for the fact that the Giants completely mismanaged their roster and kicker position last week. I think the Bengals, this is a horrible spot for the Commanders. The Bengals need this one badly. 30-17 is my score in this one, and there really isn't much more that needs to be said about that one. I don't know how the Commanders got a primetime game this early in the season. Although if you're going to see the Commanders at all in primetime, you may as well see them, before it's over, although I did pick them to make the playoffs. So we'll see if they can win more games than they lose. Let's take a break. Our best bets, and we'll try to resuscitate ourselves in the gutter after we both blew it last week with the Folsom Prison Blues pick. That's next on PFTPM and Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFTPM. It's the Picks podcast delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League. And we usually are rushing through the best bets and the Folsom Prison Blues pick because we talk too much in the earlier segments. We have time to breathe a little bit, but not much. We disagree on one game straight up, 4 against the spread. That's no fun. Let's see if we agree on best bets. Chris, which is your first one?
Well, the first one is the 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers, and that's 7 points against the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams beat up football team, not a good matchup for them. The 49ers, I think, will be pissed off after last week. Sorry, London. I'm taking them.
I believe in the Buccaneers. I'm not going to stop now. 6.5 is not enough of a spread against an overmatched Broncos team. Bo Nix, a little deer in the headlight-ish. Bucks great on both sides of the ball. They were awesome last week, even with some key players out. I like the Bucks to cover the 6.5-point spread on Sunday afternoon.
Okay, I like that. I thought about that. That was certainly one on my radar. The next one I'm going to go with is the Ravens. The Ravens being favored by 1. You kind of said it the right way. There's a banner statement. They're more desperate and they're more talented. Will they run the ball? Run the damn ball. I mean, that's my problem with the Ravens. What are we good at? What are they great at? They're kind of like, hey, we're pretty good at passing and we're pretty good at running, but they're not great at either one. And they got to find something to be great at. That's why they can't close teams out at the end of football games.
I got the Bills Monday night giving the Jaguars 5. I really do think the Bills have an advantage. And I've noticed this recently where when a team plays on Thursday, they often don't play again until the next Monday night. That's an extra day to kind of recover. They have to feel good about what they did. They had it in hand early. It reduces some of that stress. I feel like the Bills are better than a lot of people recognize. I've got them at number 2 in the power rankings this week. So I think they should be able to make fairly simple work of the Jaguars, who seem to be falling apart at the seams. One left. Who do you got?
I'm going the Bengals. I am. I'm a believer in the Bengals. You said it right. Washington's really kind of lucky to be 1-1. They were outplayed by the Giants last week. They were. And I look at Cincinnati and go, they played pretty damn good, and they outplayed the Chiefs. And I think they will be on a mission this week. Just too much talent there. I don't trust that Washington defense versus Joe Burrow and company there. I got the Bengals 28-17.
I'm concerned about a backdoor cover.
Yeah, I know.
That big of a spread.
Yep.
In that kind of a game.
I hear you.
So I thought about that one, and I went with the Bills instead. Last one for me, and I don't do this very often. This is kind of like seeing a hummingbird. And I hope this one doesn't fly into the window and drop dead. Steelers-Chargers.
Whoa!
36 over-under. Lowest over-under of the week. I think it's too high. I don't think they're scoring 36 points. I think they could play 8 quarters and not score 36 points. It's going to be an old-fashioned, grind it out, beat the shit out of each other. I got 16-13 as the final score I predicted. I could see it being 13-10. I mean, I think it's going to go under 36, Chris. I hate doing that.
That's cool.
But
I like it.
I really think that number is too high.
All right, good for you. I don't think you're crazy with that one. Not at all.
All right, Folsom Prison Blues pick. For those of you who wonder what the hell are we talking about, it's that great scene from Walk the Line where Johnny Cash is encouraged to sing the one song. If he was dying in the gutter, what's the one song that you would want the world to hear? So what's the one team that we would pick to win straight up if we're lying dead in a gutter or dying?
Right.
Although we both were dead.
I've been shot and I'm dead twice in the gutter, okay? So I'm a cat with 9 lives, and I'm going with the 49ers over the Rams. Hopefully I don't die this week.
I'm going with anybody who plays the Panthers. That's my standard pick, so give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders. Don't throw a drink on me, David. See you next time.
All right, see ya. See you, jerk, Florio. Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.